Welcome back, everyone, to DBDLeague. We are still in the qualification stage, the third day today, meaning we have 2 more matches in a best-of-5 format, and whoever is going to take the win can celebrate themselves as making it into the main stage. The other 2 teams, unfortunately, saying goodbye. And we're not talking about random teams here, those that you might have seen before, or some newcomers that are from time to time excitingly joining the scene. We are talking about a team from the Chinese community. Last tournament, we welcomed the Japanese community, and this time a warm ni hao to our friends from China, coming in with a very exciting team here. And I'll tell you all about it. At least I will try to. I think Prion has a lot more to say when we're talking about strategies and killers than I do, but let's welcome the co-caster for today. First, Prion, welcome in, my friend.
Thank you for the warm welcome, Dyer. It's great to be here again this morning in North America to cast for you guys on DBDLeague. And we really do have an exciting lineup of matches for you today. And as Dyer just said, we are going to be welcoming in a team from China this time. Really exciting stuff. Like Dyer said, we had the team from Japan last season. So now we're going to be welcoming in Team China. And just looking at the sets that we have today, I'm quite impressed with their taste in maps and killers, Dyer.
Absolutely. I think this is the most important thing to mention when we are talking about this game here. We are having, for example, the Almond Lake Mine entering the competitive stage here. We will have to wait until set 3 when we are watching the Mastermind being played on it, but it's a guaranteed map that we're going to have today due to the best of 5 character, and so at least 3 sets being needed. But we're kicking it off with a lot of speed, and I must admit, that's why I threw Prion under the bus and said he has to tell you all about it. I haven't seen so much from the Chinese team yet. I avoided the show matches that they played against Eternal because I wanted to stay neutral and be all excited for the winter circuit here when they are entering the stage. Blight is definitely a signal, in my opinion, that Team China said, we're coming in here picking the Blight. Fractured Cowshed is also an interesting map. My question now, have you seen the Chinese team before? And in case not, what do you think about Blight as the opening statement here for the team?
So I actually have not seen the Chinese team either. I saw the video, but I didn't, like you, I didn't want to go into this match with any like preloaded opinions about them. So I'm going to be just as excited to see how they perform as you are, Dyer, but I think you're absolutely right about them picking the Blight. It's a very bold and confident pick for a new competitive team that's entering our ecosystem, especially Blight on Cowshed. The new Fractured Cowshed is definitely a map that says we're going to be able to run this Blight. We're going to be able to run the Blight, and our Blight is going to do extremely well on the killer side. The new Fractured Cowshed is, there are a lot of good areas on it, but they are extremely spread out. It is not a dense map anymore. There's a lot of dead zones. And if the killer can avoid chasing in the specific strong areas on that map, then they're going to have a pretty good time. But there's also a lot of room for the survivors to position themselves correctly, stay near that cow tree and shack area that can be extremely strong on Cowshed. So yeah, I'm really excited to see an S-tier killer played on that map.
S-tier killer will be a great opener on this map, and afterwards we are going into potentially what's one of the most loved killers in the competitive scene, at least the Unknown, gathering a lot of positive recognition and being very liked from the mechanics that we're seeing in the gameplay. On Dead Dog Saloon, difficult maybe a little bit on the main building there, can be really strong. We have seen a lot of coordinated teams on the Dead Dog Saloon, so we'll be interested in seeing how this is going. We're also speeding up the campfire chat a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, as the teams are being ready in the lobby, so let's just discuss set 4 and the tie. Prion, you know what's coming? My favorite killer on the comp stage in set 4, Plague on Father Campbell's Chapel. Not only is the Plague for me a very interesting killer where you have to make so much decision making between taking the infection on the gen, waiting a little bit, going for the cleansing, or waiting a little bit later, like very interesting. But Father Campbell's Chapel is a map for me that adds really nicely to the Plague gameplay, because if you make a mistake on the survivor side and you're locking yourself up on the circus with a hook stage and potentially even a 3-gen, and you allow the Plague to have the power there or drinking from a pool, you might push yourself into game over.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to really come down to the survivors not only knowing where any potential 3 or 4 gens are, but also knowing where those corrupt pools started, and playing with that in mind. So lots of strategy going in there on the Chapel map. And there's also a lot of, or I wouldn't say a lot of, there are a couple areas on that Chapel map that can spawn extremely strong setups for Survivor, talking mainly about the main building window as well as the shack into a potential jungle gym that can generate there on that map. So we'll have to see how the survivors can use those potential generations, because if they do get those, then the Plague is actually going to have a significantly difficult time with that.
Yeah, you can, and this is what I love so much, right? The difficult time for the Plague, in total contrast to survivors can reach the game over, even with generators standing very quickly. There's so much, and the Plague, especially with 1 power and playing very aggressive, you can potentially make the biggest 180 turn that ever happened. So let's see how this is being played out. And then the tiebreaker, let's say le classique de competitif DBD, the Oni, if it didn't help just yet. And Oni is just so exciting. The pressure in the early game, not handing out an injury, making sure you are denying the power for as long as possible. And for everyone who's concerned about the ping here today and might say, oh my God, how is this going to work when we have a European team playing against a team from China? With a little bit of research, we came to the conclusion that it's actually not worse than the team from Japan, especially when the players, and since they're allowed to use exit lag, can optimize their connection a little bit. So there's nothing worse than the usual NA West SA constellations that we already have in our very international community. So there's no extra advantage or disadvantage being taken by any team here today in the matchup, and we are in our first game of today. China starting it off on the killer side here. Fractured Cowshed, Brian talked about it. Very interesting map, especially for this S-tier killer, and Variant is making sure that Ahong is not able to take over in the first place.
Yeah, Shack Pellet immediately gone there for Ahong. Nicely done finding this chase quickly. And no counter respawn here for Survivor's Origin. That's going to put a nice pathing there from Variant. Able to get out of that bad situation there. Stunned up by the pallet, and makes it over to one of these new failing Variant tiles here. Rush coming out, should get a hit here. Nicely done. And that Jake, he's going to have to hold W away from this tile. Not a safe place to stay whatsoever. And now going to be moving over to another filler pallet. Gets the stun there, but now he's a little bit zoned dire. He's only got this sort of weak tile with 1 pallet. Pallet is going to be broken by the lethal rush. Now he's got to run over back towards the cow tree, but he actually still has that filler pallet there, and the filler has to leave. Great first chase from Variant.
And now Devour taking the first hit onto our ace, making 2 injuries overall. But as you mentioned, very good first chases for the survivors here. No one down just yet. We've seen way other Blight games before, and the down is almost coming in immediately here. And Variant now eventually going down onto the floor. We see his lawyer waiting in the cowshed for the potential unhook, but our killer is knowing that there's someone around, so our lawyer is going to report this cruel case here to the court after taking another injury. And now the Survivor team needs to watch out a little bit, because it's very clear to me that Team China is coming in with quite some aggression here, making sure that the Survivors are being taken away from the generator. And that's the next down right here onto Devour. Early on into the game, the struggle with keeping themselves together. I'm impressed how aggressive our Blight is entering the stage.
I'm very impressed with this play from so far, Dyer. It was so good earlier how he left to go find a hit at main building, and then he knew that the Jake would not have escaped the dead zone yet, and immediately went back there to get the hit on the guy that had previously escaped him and thrown all of the pallets in that trade. And now Rush coming out onto this TL wall, going to miss there, but this is going to be an injured survivor. ZQ stuck at this TL wall. The Rushes are about to recharge, tries to use the sprint burst to get around the T side of the wall, but he's actually just going to have to go corner here, Dyer. And the pressure is mounting for Ahang here. He is not missing these lethal rushes, and now he's actually going to pick up. So going to be using that Gift of Pain perk that he has, hopefully here. He may not have a Scourge Trap, we'll have to see, but it's a good decision to pick up here, because I think he realizes that Origin is taking time to do some resets here, and he's probably not going to lose a gen anytime soon.
Yeah, potentially also the team members in the DC asking him to calm down a little bit, and using the handbrake from time to time, giving these survivors a chance to get some hands onto the generators. We talked about it looked good in the beginning. We had quite some pressure coming out of these good chances, but then immediately afterwards the pressure rising again, everyone injured. CQ still on the hook there in the distance. It will be difficult for the team to go for it. They must do it now, while our killer is busy over here in the corner of the map. Devour, though, is receiving the heal that is telling us that it's most likely the survivor that is going for the unhook, and the Blight thinks so as well. Notice that the healed survivor will be the one trying to move towards the main building and cuts them off, and I don't think Ace has any realistic chance making it over there, with the distance being way too great over there to the hook, and with a nice one around the corner here, we are going to have the next down as well. 2 injured survivors left. You could say an Blight not even considering going for the hook stages here. Instead, across the closure once again, bouncing here, bouncing there, but then unfortunately losing track of Variant a little bit, not having enough rushes left. So it's coming down to a normal M1 here around the hook, but Variant should have been able to waste quite some time, so at least one more survivor can be unhooked or being killed. If that's not going to happen as the final altruistic action here, then I would start to be very worried for Team Origin here. Prion, I feel like they are doing a phenomenal job in recovering, but there's a realistic chance that this is ending soon.
Dyer, I might slightly disagree with you there. I think I'm seeing the vision for Ahang here. I think he might 4K5 or 4K4. His bump logic is so clean, and I'm starting to see his strategy here and why this Chinese team picked the cowshed. He is just going for these survivors in dead zones that he has created ahead of time and leaving them there. And once he finds a survivor that's not in a dead zone, he'll work to get that down, and then he can just immediately rush back to a slug survivor in an area with 0 pallets, and then leave those survivors down as well. They have 0 time to do gens here, and Ruin is still up. Like, Ahang is 100% in the driver's seat now, and as long as he just keeps hitting these lethal rushes, I don't think Origin is going to get any gens done.
I think you have a very good point there. I try to raise the hope a little bit for our Team Origin as these survivors. I'm trying to imagine the situation at the moment. You're entering the winter circuit qualification stage. You're coming in with your friends, with your fans, and you're saying, we're going to win this today. While you're facing this machine coming in here on Fractured Cowshed and shutting down every potential progress that you can get into the generators, finding the next survivor here, just barely missing Devour. And it is even impressive how we are having 2 survivors back to being fully healthy. Somehow they are finding a few seconds here and there to get a little bit of the recovery work done, but very often Ahorn is just moving ahead and going to reset the progress that we have seen here. Trying to get back onto the main building here as he the survivors must be over here. We have seen the indicator there around the corner of the map, but the survivors holding W way to the shack, trying to waste time here. And Brian, this is a match where every second has so much value.
Yeah, and Lawyer here crucially is barely a bit not able to get that heal off, but actually looks like no, Ahong is not leaving just yet. He goes for the flick, and Lawyer, nice pathing there. He's able to duck into the corner around the killer, but he's still not going to get that heal off. Pops Logger again, and this is what we're going to need to see from Origin if they are going to survive this Blight from Ahong. They need to be hopping lockers. Just waste that much more time, because now he's finally forcing Ahong to hook, and that is going to be the deliberate survivor on the hook. All of the other survivors here are able to just not really do anything and wait for that guy to pull himself off. Ruin is gone now, which means the Eruption is now in play for Ahong, and looks like Origin might be in a little bit of a better spot here. As long as playing in these dead zones as this Blight, still going to be an extreme effort required for Origin to get anything done.
The effort is so high indeed. The to-do list, the homeworks that the survivors have to do here is rising and rising. We also see that Devour is half, even further than half of the bleed out counter here. And for everyone interested,
very
combination, even though he's going to take the injury right after, but that was very, very great that we have seen there. And this is maybe also what it takes to make the recovery, at least for a generator or two, because I feel like this would be really needed. Getting Team China in and saying you just need one generator in your survivor team to win this is really not how you want to start this. Best of 5, Devour is going down onto the floor. But what I wanted to say, because Variant interrupted me with his very great play there on the basement staircase, and survivor bleeding out is still worth all the hook stages and the fresh up, so the killer doesn't have to volume. It's the task of the survivor team to take care of the recovery and the resets. Very quick double pick up there in the distance, but we really need some longer time here in one of the chases to get 1 or 2 generators out of the way.
Yeah, and this is going to be the recently unhooked survivor Lawyer going down in the corner. See, usually you would want to go corner against this killer or against this type of strategy from Ahong, but when you go corner on the target against the Blight, you're isolating yourself, and Ahong is just going to rush back and down you again. They need to be kind of dying near resources here, I feel, Dire. It's kind of subverting the conventional wisdom of playing against an S-tier killer, as ZQ going to take an M1. He still has a pallet here, but actually Ahong just calls the bluff and rushes through the pallet, gets the hit, even though the pallet comes down. Unfortunate for ZQ, but he is actually going to be hooked, and that was a death hook survivor. That was the Nia that went second earlier when Ahong first started his slugging plays, and now he immediately rushes back over to this dead zone by the Harvester. Stiff rush coming out, not going to be able to quite get the flick, but doesn't really matter. He's got Lawyer trapped at this Harvester, injured here, and he's just going to have to hop locker again. So Ahong here, probably happy to hook this guy since he's already been hooked before.
Now, with the ultimate turning point here, with the kill, the second stage onto Lawyer, I think it is time for the fans of Origin to accept that the time has come. We can only hope that there's going to be a generator and a little bit of pressure, a little bit of an adjustment to the win condition. But unfortunately, it is not looking too good here for Team Origin. Prion pointed it out, the bump logic, the gameplay tactical plan with the dead zones, leaving survivors over there, forcing them into the longer routes until they can reach a team member for the healing is going to be the deciding factor here. Devour and Variant are back to being healthy, so they can hop onto a generator. They can try to get the unhook. They can try to get a little bit of the long to-do list being worked off here, but unfortunately, it is not really looking like the greatest game for Origin. I would say, just putting it out there, if we would see 2 generators, somehow you could treat this as an absolute win of a grand final.
Yeah, 2 generators here for Origin would be ideal, but with now a second survivor dead, another nice flick hit by Ahong, I don't think that's going to be coming through anytime soon. Maybe 1 generator can be done by Variant in the distance, but as Lawyer is sacrificed, Ahong, very smart here. He does not want to commit to the injured survivor. He wants to secure this 4K5. Searching for the healthy survivor. He's found scratch marks on Variant. He wants, when he finally goes for that 4th survivor, he wants them to be injured. That's why he's chasing this. That's why he's chasing this healthy survivor now.
Now in the next chase with Variant here, and we actually have a pallet left on Cowshed. I was not expecting that, as I thought the survivors had to already use every resource on the map to somehow defend themselves against the Blight. But one was over here going towards the shack. Ahom has no interest in chasing, and there you can see how high the expectation is to his own performance. If you would let his generator slip, you would talk about a 4K. Over here onto Devour. That's going to be the bleed out. He doesn't necessarily need to worry, but picking up is fine as well, because Variant does not have the chance to go through the hatch here, as Team Origin has not completed all the generators, and if a generator is still standing, we are not allowing exit gates or hatch escape to be counted, as otherwise we would introduce the RNG in the end game and giving this a very decisive factor, which we do not want to hand out. We can tell here by the scratch marks the survivor wants to get towards the generator on the top side, trying to get the last few percentages in here, but with all 5 tokens being back for our Blight, that's also not going to be the case. So we're going to see a little bit of bumping in the main building, missing the survivor by a little bit, but that's not going to be enough time to go for the rescue here, nor the window. So GG's to Team China. I think that is the perfect introduction onto the stage here. Wow. I also just see, this is the great thing when you're on 10-minute delay. I want to refer to one comment that I see in the chat at the moment by Zeno, none other than Zeno, saying, Ahong taught me how to slug. Put respect on the name. So if this is the role model for an aggressive game strategy here, as Zeno says, then I think he totally lived up to his name here.
Yeah, Dyer, I am incredibly impressed with this killer performance from Ahong, and just what an introduction for Team China to DBDLeague. I mean, we still have to see what their survivor performance is like, but they are certainly setting a high bar for themselves, telling us Western organizations that they are here to win.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, usually, this is the problem. Usually what we are talking about at the end of the trial is the potential strategy that you can put up in the trial, right? But I feel like you basically have to copy paste what we have just seen, because the win condition is that there cannot be a single generator being completed. And if I imagine Origin's Blight playing this the normal way, so going for hook stages, taking time to carry survivors, I do not see that this is going to happen without a generator being lost. So I almost recommend going copy and paste mode.
Yeah, it is definitely not a position you want to be in as a killer for a competitive DVD team. Seeing that your survivors just got a result like this, but also you kind of just have to mentally reset and put yourself already in the next set. Just not take too much frustration from the fact that you have to get a 4K5 and just kind of prepare yourself for the killer that you actually picked. I would say that's the best strategy here for Origin.
Yeah, so it will be one hell of a task for Team Origin. Let's see what they're going to bring onto the table. Win condition is 1 generator for our guests from China here. Let's see how the second trial of set 1 is going to be played, and we'll see you right after this very short break.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Fractured Cowshed here for Origin's shot at a 4K5 with the Blight. We have Varian on the Blight here. He's immediately found his first chase, and I'm actually pretty impressed with this build. If anything was going to get a 4K5, I think Variant has the perks to do it. He's got full Hex build, and he's actually able to immediately win an M1 mind game, getting an M1 onto Light Soldier here, who has to pre-drop this pallet. And now he's a little bit zoned into a not very strong tile on the edge map. Nice little V1 tech there, and that's going to be a very quick first down from Variant.
Very quickly indeed onto Light Soldier here, and this is exactly how you need to respond to the Blight performance. Important information from the background, 35 seconds for the first one, and the last time we had this insane performance, the 4K5, was actually Wispy against Rapture with the Huntress, though. It was not the Blight coming in, it was the, I believe, very dangerous quiet Huntress that you could play. The Variant is going to destroy the Shack pallet, so getting rid of valuable resources here as well. Mia is taking the chase towards the midsection, having this pallet over here. Variant is trying to be aggressive, swinging through, but unfortunately not going to land here, and this is now going to take a little bit too long if you're asking me. There shouldn't be the time to go for the hook here as the survivors are spreading across the generators. Of course, they know that one generator will be enough to take the first set point, and unfortunately this one is not going to land either. So Team China pretty close to the win condition here, I believe.
Yep, Milky Way on the Nancy, probably doing a gen in the distance, and crowd control has already left the trial as well, so that's one big tool for Variant already gone. Misses the flick there onto, I believe that's, you say that name, Ian? Looks like it's a 1. But Variant continuing chase here at this Variant tile. He's gonna miss the swing there. Nice, makes it to the pallet there for the Claudette. Bloodlust generated on the Blight, not usually what you want to see here, but he is gonna win the M1 mind game there. Claudette is going to go down, and he's going to slug once again because he absolutely has to. Finds an injured survivor here, and actually that was a healthy survivor around the corner. Gets a hit onto Milky Way. Rocking Ruin on that generator, and he's actually going to leave the Nancy now, go for the healthy survivor. That's kind of what you have to do in this situation. You need to keep finding these injured survivors, leaving other survivors injured, making sure that an injured survivor is one that has to go for the pickup on the downed survivor, and then snowball that into more and more pressure. Gets the down there onto Mia. Good set of rushes there, and he has to continue slugging. Variant, he's not going to go out quietly here. Very good start so far, considering his win condition.
Absolutely, it's a great impression that Variant is leaving here. The pressure doesn't really isn't there, you could say. Like, Variant doesn't seem to feel it, at least on the shoulders, even though he has such a responsibility. Light Soldier able to confuse the Blight for a second here, but then taking the injury regardless. We can tell in the distance one survivor picking up another, so this leaves maximum Milky Way or Mia onto the generators here, meaning that Variant has a little bit of additional time. They're going for the heal though, denying the injury progress that Variant has created for himself. So that might be a little bit of a setback here for our killer. Difficult pallet to rush around, but managing it with a nice bump into the rock here, and it's going to be used to go for a hook stage, having the Grim in the back pocket and potentially also making sure that there's the chance to catch the Claudette right behind. Not going to happen, as Variant also has to take care of the other generators that are on here next to the main building. Survivor around the generator left early, trying to hide behind this rock here. Milky Way successfully doing it, denying the hit. Very well done by Team China so far, and the first generator is so close now.
Yeah, and there it is. First generator is going to go, and that is going to be the win for Team China. Nice try here from Variant. I mean, you can't envy this win condition that he had here. But Team China was very efficient with this. They were staying in areas that made it a little bit hard for Variant to get the quick downs. And Milky Way going to go down here, but it doesn't matter. Team China, they had a few generators, probably above 60% progress here. So nicely done that they were able to pop just one of them, and now they are just going to see if they can get out. I'm not 100% sure if they will, but a lot of the hex perks have already left the trial, which was very important for Variant to keep those up. And losing Ruin is kind of what put this on a timer for Variant.
Yeah, it is important to also make a statement towards the survivor team of Team China that they cannot just do everything they want to here on the fractured cowshed. We are having the taking the hit there through the panel. We are having the very difficult unknown match next, where it's so much about the mechanical skill, where it's so much about the survivors performing well when we are talking about dodging, when we're talking about their chase potential. So the number one mission now for Team Origin is making sure that Team China is not coming in with the greatest confidence into their survivor game, as they will stay on the survivor side for the upcoming set here. So having any sort of 4K would be good as a signal. Team Origin is keeping up with you. We are not going to be defeated that easily, and so far I really agree with what you're saying. Variant is playing a very great game, especially considering the win condition, and he's also able to put a lot of pressure out here.
I believe Ian just plot twisted in front of Variant at that tile. So bit of a funny interaction there, forcing the Blight to miss the lethal rush. Milky Way has the Deliverance charged here. Going to take a hit here and run towards, I think, yeah, well, there's a dropped filler pallet here. Not very strong, though, against the Blight. Looks like Variant opting not to break it just yet. And actually, nice fault there from Milky Way. Forces out the lethal rush to break the pallet, and now he's just in a dead zone here. But he does have a 99 sprint burst. Going to use that to get to the next tile, but the lethal rush is coming out, not going to save him. So nice try there for Milky Way with the 99 sprint burst, but unfortunately the Blight is an S tier killer.
Unfortunately, indeed. And we have Mia over here, injured survivor, so there might be the danger for Team Lokaju coming out, wasting a few more seconds before going down onto the floor here. And this is enough time for Light Soldier to rescue one team member up there, and the Blight not being on the way back yet. We mentioned it before, this Blight set, especially with how intensively it's played, every single second matters, and even something like the Lokaju creates 5 to 7 extra seconds for you and your team that can lead into one altruistic action. Back onto the floor though, there is the plot twist coming in to clutch. Variant trying to go and find this survivor while Light Soldier is potentially rotating in the back, getting the next survivor up on the floor. That is going to be Mia. We have seen them last time at the shack. Ian is now picking themselves up with the plot twist. Milky Way right up after. So Team China with an absolute great comeback play here in a couple of seconds. Everyone is back on their feet. That was very well played here.
Yeah, great recovery from Team China there. Like you said, with the plot twist as well, means the recovery was not concentrated in one area, so not necessarily one golden reset for Variant to find, as Ian is going to get picked up with full health immediately from that perk. So really good inclusion in the build there. And Variant, he looks a little bit lost now, trying to find his next chase. Scratch marks are leading towards main, but that might not be the best place to take your chase here, with 3 generators remaining and only 2 hook stages.
Yeah, the 2 hook stages can be a problem later on. That's going to be Mia now onto the floor here again. But we have the bleed out chance in compensating a little bit for the fact that we are not making sure getting an elimination as early as possible through the hook stages here. Taking care of the generator again. I really have to point out again how much I admire Variant's performance here. We need to put it into the context of just drastically losing the first game on the survivor side. 4K on 5 generators can do a lot with the morale, can do a lot with the confidence, and our Blight is absolutely not affected by it.
Yeah, and Mia here, bleed out timer is getting pretty low, so that's probably what Varian is going for here. He's actually going to sniff out Light Soldier. Good game sense there, going to find the David hiding at the tile. Goes for a mind game here. Oh, he's going to barely miss the swing, though. He did call out the vault. Now, going to have to use the lethal rush. Does get that hit. Nicely done here from Variant. He's going to have the rushes back in just a second here. Can go towards this tile. There is a pallet here. He's going to have to outplay this with the lethal rush. Goes back and forth, but Light Soldier calls out the pathing and is going to be able to dodge that lethal rush. Looks like Ian here is... He's here to support. Going to try to take a hit, but he's not able to do it there. The Blight just slides on past him and is going to get the down onto Light Soldier. That's going to be a Mori coming out. This survivor was dead on hook. Dire. One generator is going to be done in the distance, at least one. And that's going to be Light Soldier killed. But Team China looking like they are in a strong spot here to maybe get down to one generator or even finish them all as another one finished in the distance.
Yeah, you were asking for the 4th generator. They instantly delivered here. Ian going to take the next entry though. Mia and Milky Way still healthy, and we have quite a significant amount of progress over here onto the generator. The 3 remaining gens, however, will not be the easiest to attack for the survivor team. They are quite, yeah, we could almost stay on a quarter of the fractured cowshed map. And with Varian taking even the pallets from the nearby escape routes, aka the main building, for example, it is going to be more and more difficult. Great rushes here onto Milky Way, putting them onto the floor. And of course, there's no time once again to go for the hook. Instead, taking care of the very nice 3-gen triangle that we see here on the top left side of the map. Milky Way immediately back onto their feet here. Ian is injured. Mia with the healthy status, so they could potentially go all the way up in the corner here, taking a little bit of a risk onto the generators and making sure that they can just go freely onto the next objective. Full heal is a good sign in my opinion. It's showing that Team China has the situational awareness, realizing that the generators are in a difficult spot and that the killer definitely has the advantage here defending them. So the full reset is absolutely understandable, will give them the chance to be a lot more aggressive on the generators also, because they realize we can take a hit, we can take the sprint burst resulting from the hit, and we can make it a little bit further down into the safety, for example the shack that is nearby of this generator. Nancy is taking a hit and should be running down towards the shack now, immediately pulling out of the area. And this is the difficulty now. Variant cannot follow these survivors as they are constantly worried about the generators being completed.
Yeah, and usually, Dire, as we see Variant here, he's actually going to find the injured survivor there. Nice down onto Milky Way. And looks like he's going to... No, he's not going to slug here because he's able to actually carry this survivor into the 3-gen. So good strategy here from Variant. He wants to put Milky Way right in the middle of this gen spread. So gonna go up on the hook there. And actually, Ian, right next to the hook, clicking his flashlight at the killer. And that has to be a bit of a distraction. There must be a survivor. Yeah, it's gotta be Mia here on the generator, trying to distract from the hook. And he gets grabbed. Oh, that generator's 99. Ian is right there too. Oh, Dire, Ian could have flashlight saved from the grab on the generator, but he didn't.
And now with the attempts here starting, you can see that it's supposed to be a very good final interaction that's going to come out. Ian is going to take the injury here, and we should enter our final... Oh, never mind! We are having the deliverance in the background, setting Team China back into the recovery possibility, into the final generator here. I spoke too soon. The deliverance was not on my radar here. Milky Way, the MVP when we are talking about the end game, very great. And this is setting a whole different situation now. They should be able to take someone out of the door potentially.
Yeah, the team from China is able to somehow get out of that dangerous situation and actually finish all of the gens. Now it's going to be Milky Way going down. Mia, the only survivor left standing. But it seems like Variant is going to be able to secure this 4K after all. But nicely done there from Team China to actually finish all of the generators. Usually getting 3-gen like that is a sign of bad strategy, but you can't say that here because Team China only needed to complete 1 generator to win.
Very, very great to see China being so confident when they are coming out here. I mean, it's not the easiest part, right? You're coming in completely new into the community. It's a new stage for you, new rules. You need to be prepared. We've seen the team from Japan being a little bit more, you could say, shy when they entered DBDL. They were not playing so aggressive, and it felt like, yeah, they want to test the grounds that they are having in DBDL, but Team China, I feel like they're just playing like every other weekend. Very, very impressive, and with the out, they definitely display towards Origin that they have good confidence and good coordination on the survivor side, and I also believe that this is going to carry over into the Unknown match. I don't know if Variant is playing the Unknown for Team Origin, but whoever is taking the responsibility in a couple of minutes here basically needs to be pinpoint perfect again if you want to stop these survivors.
Yeah, so going into this Unknown set, Origin is really going to have something to prove here. If they aren't able to win this Unknown set that they picked, it's going to be pretty dire for them going into the 3rd set, and we could potentially see a sweep from Team China.
It will be a very intense best of 5 that is ahead of us. China definitely set the tone here. We'll see if Origin is able to make a comeback. We are going to switch over towards the Unknown on the Alive Cat Saloon, ladies and gentlemen, and we will see you right after this very short break. Welcome back, everyone, to the Alive Cat Saloon. We are here with the Unknown and Variant. Variant has a reason to be confident about the game, even though they just dropped the first set point to Team China. They still showed us a very respectable Blight performance, considering that the original win condition for Trial 2 was not letting a single generator slide. So let's see what Variant is able to do. Found the first survivor on the street, didn't unfortunately get the hit, and taking care of the Hex Totem a little bit. We are having the Hex Ruin, and we also see a little bit of Thrill of the Hunt Protection. Very interesting there that this combination is being put together here. No Corrupt Intervention is also interesting. Usually we see on that Dark Saloon how the teams are trying to protect the 3-gen, for example, on the Gallows area. That doesn't seem to be the plan here for now. Second shot of the game is also not going to land, so Team China playing careful, being able to dodge a little bit, and so far this is looking really good for them.
Yeah, really good pathing so far from Milky Way, able to dodge out on 2 of those UVX shots and also away from the teleport there. So not a lot gotten so far for a Variant, and with no Corrupt, you have to wonder how many survivors are working on gens right now. None of them have done a totem just yet. Now that's finally going to be the weakening effect coming in from Variant. That's a nice shot on the inside of the shack. Hits Milky Way, and he actually gets the injury on the second shot as well. Nicely done there. That's the kind of pressure that you need on the Unknown. Teleport comes out, first generator completed in the distance, but this shot needs to land, and it does. Nicely done from Variant. 2 generators are going to pop in the distance, though. Once Variant actually started to get these hits in, the down came in relatively quickly, but it took him a little bit too long to get started there. It's going to be punished with 2 whole generators there, but he does get the first hook in the end, as looks like one of the totems is going to be leaving the trial, and that's going to be Ruin.
Almost 2 minutes on the first chase, 1 minute 52. Pretty good performance here. That's not going to work on Ian. That's going to be the stun right here. Also not going to be the UVX shot right after. Ian here perfectly waiting for the moment when the killer decides to break the pallet and then just taking himself into safety. Back towards the shack with the teleportation and onto the survivors that are currently working together on the rescue here. Both of them are going to receive the UVX shot, and what a play, but they're not making anything out of it. That was so sad, the way he swung with the M1 there to block the shack pallet entrance and then getting a little bit confused and letting the survivor slip by. That was very unfortunate. Such a great idea, and you could only wish for Origin, as they are in need of getting some pressure in, that these things are working out. Maybe the next time, even though Team China will now be prepared that the killer is trying something cheeky like that. Second generator in exchange for the next hook stage here. Not looking too bad for both sides, but that was heartbreaking on the shack.
Yeah, it was a really good idea from Variant. Unfortunately, he just messed up the execution at the very last second, but it still does get the down onto Milky Way in short order. So it's going to be second hook onto this Nancy, and Variant here, since he did lose those 2 generators so quickly, I would say that a potential tunnel out on the Milky Way is going to be his best way forward here, especially since he doesn't really have any perks that that kind of, I guess, promote not tunneling. Like, there's no pain res, there's no way out, no gift of pain, and now Milky Way in chase once again in front of the main building here. He's actually going to take an M1 onto a different survivor. It's going to be Ian there, and he's leaving the Nancy Dyer. Ian's able to cleanse the weakened, immediately gets weakened again though, and as another generator is done over by the side of the map, and he's actually fully committed to chase now with this Claudette. I'm not sure where the Nancy made it off to, but he really needs to find her.
Now back on the main building here. Yeah, trying to find them, as you point out, and this costs a little bit of time. Ian over here tried to, I think, get rid of the illusion that we had here as a teleportation point. Going onto the hook now for trying to do that, and we are pretty much on a good balance here. We are having the 3 stages so far on our survivors and 4 generators in exchange, so pretty good work here so far onto our killer role. Survivors looking strong, only 1 generator remaining, trying to make sure that this is going to get a little bit faster here perhaps. Team China just took 1 out in the Blight set, so they are certainly looking out for more when playing against the Unknown.
Yeah, and Variant is doing a nice job of hitting these shots here, but I guess it's just the start was a little bit too slow. He's able to get the weaken there onto Mia, misses the second follow-up shot though, but nice teleport there, going to get the grab on the window. So good execution here on the Unknown mechanics for Variant, but he's working against the clock here with only 1 generator to go.
Now back onto the street here, trying to fire a snipe of a UVX shot. Doesn't work, unfortunately, even though it was a brave attempt. Mia has a lot of time here as well on the hook at the moment. We are now going to take the jump behind the building. Lithe or balance, helping a little bit with that, and that's going to be the down right here. Variant strong again, coming out now a little bit more confident. The downs are not taking so long anymore, and collecting quite a few stages here together back on the water tower. It is looking good. Will be interesting to see if Team China will make it anytime soon with the generator number 5, or if Variant is using this to get a little bit of additional stages before they have the chance to walk out of the door here. The potential for Origin is definitely there.
And he actually sees Light Soldier there hiding in the bush, gets the teleport there. Lithe coming out though from the David, going to get him to the next window. Oh, he tries to dodge the UVX, but still gets hit. Nicely done there with that shot from Variant. Now trying to find the follow-up shot. Goes for prediction, but it's not going to land. Light Soldier holds W there. Great pathing against the Unknown. All of Team China here, even though they are taking some hits, you can tell that these guys really know how to chase against the Unknown. dodging out on a lot of these UVX shots, really good pathing. And Ian now going to be in his potential final chase of the match. He is going to get weakened up there. UVX about to come off cooldown, goes for the shot, and Ian down on the pallet. Here comes the pickup. Is there anyone here to save? No, there is not. So that is going to be the first kill coming out for Variant.
We need to real quick ask our producer to restart the screen share. Sometimes we are having problems with Discord. It's not the most reliable anymore for quite some time now. Devs, please help us out with our medium in case that triggered a short audio issue for you on the stream. We hope for your forgiveness and apologize in advance. Light Soldier here, our injured survivor, might have a difficult time getting out of the trial here, but we are actually finding Mia can take a hit and the corresponding sprint burst a little bit to move towards the top side exit gate, and that is exactly the plan. We have one teleportation chance very soon into the main building, but that's not really going to be a significant difference going on the lower floor. Seeing one survivor that's currently opening the door, and that's not going to be enough time. Light Soldier being forced off the exit gate seemed like a little bit of a miscommunication there on Team China, miscalculating the time that they need, and the difficulty is Light Soldier is a fresh hook, so that's bad for Team China now.
Yeah, any fresh hook here is actually really good for Variant. The general consensus is that Unknown is kind of solved on the survivor side, and his average result just keeps going down and down in competitive DBD. So if he can actually get the kill on the Light Soldier here, I would be pretty happy with that result for Team China. Or for Team Origin, I mean, sorry.
Trying to defend the hook here, knowing that it's going to be a hard task though, because the survivors are meeting up. But Variant expects that, using the teleport that we have in the main building, trying to get the defense in by being aggressive, but there's someone in the back. Milky Way is now rotating towards Light Soldier, as our killer did not realize that our survivors over there. Mia getting grabbed here, but it's not going to be a huge difference, at least when we're talking about the hook stages. Mia will be worth 2 additional stages here, and I think the survivors can certainly live with that. They should just go out of the door here. Going for the reset will be interesting if Team China is willed to put some risk here. One thing that we learned from the All Hallows League, we see the debate here. Nancy and Light Soldier, Milky Way and Light Soldier debating about going back, but I absolutely agree with their decision here, just leaving the trial and sacrificing Mia, but this is overall bringing us to 9 stages. Prion, that is a very respectable result for Variant.
Yeah, really respectable and good result for the Unknown here, especially against survivors that are this good. Unknown, when he first hit the DBDLeague, he was 4K 2ing, 4K 3ing almost every single game. But I think survivors have really learned how to play against this killer now. And when you're playing against survivors that know how to run this killer, it is incredibly difficult and stressful. So 9 stages, great result here for Origin. They can be very comfortable going into their survivor set now.
Absolutely. Origin with a good trial ahead of them, potentially able to drag us into the tie here, the 1-1 after the first 2 sets in this best of 5. Stay tuned, everyone. We will see you again with the Unknown. This time it will be Origin on the survivor side, and we will see you in a couple of moments.
Welcome back to the Dead Dog Saloon, everybody, for the second half of this exciting Unknown set between Team China and Team Origins. We have Team China's killer now on the Unknown, needs 10 stages for fresh to get this win condition. And before the first chase starts, this killer's name is NF, so that's how I will be referring to him for the duration of the trial. His name is a lot of Chinese characters, so we did need to seek some clarification on how to pronounce or what he wanted to go by in English. So sees some scratch marks here, and he's actually going to break these doors, which I think is actually a great decision. That specific tile with the 2 breakable doors is so strong, and you don't want to be stuck breaking those in chase.
Breaking and preparing a little bit here, it seems like, making themselves feel a little bit nicer for the quick downs later on. Checking on the main building. A lot of scratch marks over here leading to the upstairs level. Checking on the hex build, but no one around here just yet. We have a Devour Hope, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be a potential exciting turn later on here with a lot of pressure onto Team Origin if they don't cleanse that in time. Variant, Lawyer, Devour, and Secure, making sure, hopefully, that they are getting out of the door here with maximum 8 stages, as we are having this as the win condition and taking the set point for the second set, bringing us overall to a tie after 2 out of 5 sets played. Nice UVX shot here onto Devour, making sure that they are in danger, but overall from the Survivor, a very great play here, wasting a lot of time while running in the corner of the Deadlock Saloon, meaning that he's dragging the killer so far away from the active generators, and that should be a good base for Team Origin to start off.
Yeah, very tight pathing around the corner from Devour, able to cleanse that weakened before NF can even line up a shot, so really nicely done there from Devour, and he's actually just running straight towards that strong main building window, so good start for Origin here. Claudette going to go back around the side of the saloon. You're not going to a very strong pallet. However, this is a very strategically good place to die.
Now with the flashlight here in the corner, trying to get a little bit of extra distance, but our killer is not getting too confused and too impressed by that. It's just going to be the down right here. Exchange for the second generator though. Origin not being slow at all and making sure that the pressure is immediately being put back onto the killer here. 50% on the main building as well, cleansing one of the hex totems over here. So Origin really efficient, not wasting any time, making sure that they are taking care of the tasks they have been given here, trying to go for the UVX shot in the distance, and we're saying goodbye to Devour Hope as the team just got rid of that. Leaves the hex ruined though for quite a bit of time, and if our killer NF is able to push the survivors off these generators, then sure, this perk will do a lot. But with Devour and Team Origin constantly dragging the killer into this corner of the Deadlock Saloon, I don't see Ruin doing the biggest amount of value yet.
Yeah, he still seems to be trying to play around this hook here. He's going to have to go for the M1 there on Variant, who just runs straight back into the main building. Going to leave Variant alone for now. Go for the teleport here onto that weakened survivor, ZQ. ZQ takes the UVX shot there. Good aim from NF, and it looks like he's going to be trying to force Devour to second stage here. He's got 2 injuries on the way to the hook, so only Lawyer can come in for the save here, and it doesn't look like Lawyer is anywhere near this hook. Probably doing a generator over there. I'm guessing that one on the staircase over by Shack. So, looks like, yeah, that generator is going to pop, and a specific strategy coming out here from Origin. They're leaving Devour on the hook for now in exchange for gen pressure.
Now back onto the Shack here, mixing it a little bit together with the Gallows area, getting hook off the little pallet over here. Variant trying to hold W, not going to be enough. There's going to be the UVX shot followed straight up with the teleportation, and a quick down would be so good for Team Origin here. We have Devour very soon into the elimination. Lawyer is taking the UVX shot as well. On top of that, an M1, and now NF going back towards the hook, expecting that a rescue is coming in last second, and he was right with that. The survivors trying to make their way out of this difficult situation, and is not the target at all. It's going to be Devour here, who would be removed from the trial, and forcing the 3v1 scenario would be so beneficial for our killer here. Hopping into the locker, potentially trying to use the decisive strike there, and getting away from the killer. That is indeed the case. Interesting that our killer is not taking it, but what a mastermind play here, dropping down to get the Claudette out of the locker and then teleporting right back up. Luckily there's another locker in reach here, but 200 IQ being taken, and That is interesting now. A lot of our European teams are just accepting the fate with the decisive strike and picking it, and our Chinese killers opting to wait in front of the locker until they can go with the Mori here. Very nice that we see the Moris in the winter circuit as well, and that is a goodbye to Devour, and a shout out to our producer Miss Savannah here, being the cinema for us and letting us enjoy this Mori in full length, and the 5th generator is coming out as well. So it does look still, even with this elimination, that Origin is fighting back here.
Yeah, very nice survivor play from Origin there, able to finish all of the generators, and a door is already being worked on Dire. Variant barely dodges out on that EVX shot. That was so close. He still has Shack Pellet here. Teleport is going to come in towards the door, but the healthy and fresh ZQ is really the only one that matters to escape here, as he's the one finishing the door, and now in chase at the TL wall. Going to probably take an M1 here from NF. Actually takes the UVX blast instead. Maybe that door wasn't quite 99, Dire, as ZQ now in chase at this unsafe filler pallet, going to take a hit there. Teleport probably going to come in. Yeah, teleport comes in to cut him off from making the door. Another door going to be opened by Variant in the distance, and this next shot has to land for NF, or that weekend is probably going to be cleansed. Shot going to come out and dodged by ZQ there. That was definitely a tough shot to hit, and ZQ knew exactly where it was going to land, and that is going to be Survivors of Origin making outs. That's going to tie this series up 1-1. Team Origin makes a set point.
Very well played by Team Origin. 1-1, ladies and gentlemen. The best of 5 is now guaranteeing us a Mastermind on Orman Lake Mine and the Plague on Father Campbell's Chapel. And if that's not enough, then we got the Oni at the end for making the decision here. Very great comeback overall from Origin in general. When we are talking how this started, where they got 4K'd with 5 generators still standing on the Blight, then having a great performance against it, where it was already great, how they are not losing the hope and we're still trying to put in a confident performance, and then now talking about the win on the Unknown set. Very great storytelling for themselves. Origin tying up with Team China. We are going to move on to the Orman Lake Mine and the Mastermind, and we'll see you right after the break. Painres and Corrupt coming in. All the teams were allowed to change their builds, and let's hope that we can return to the reason why we are here today, watching competitive DBD with no issues.
Yes, Dire, and like you said, the teams are both allowed to change here, but no changes for Mo. And really, can you blame him after that last performance? I wouldn't change anything either. And it's going to be Lawyer first chase here. Looks like some exhaustion perk was used there. I can't tell if it was balance landing or lithe, but the second bound actually going to miss there. Good pathing from Lawyer, able to go into the corner of that room to barely dodge out on that dash. So Mo actually going to leave and look for a different survivor to chase instead, and he's going to find it. This is Lisu here, and he's not at a very safe pallet. There's not really anything good connecting here either. He's going to have to take an M1 here and hopefully make it towards some sort of tile.
Yeah, hopefully, but also Mo opting to go with another survivor here. Claudette moving around the
He got
pipe,
FOV checked there, Dire.
Yeah, absolutely. Very great play by Devour. We can also give you green light. Origin now on fine ping. We are on the correct server. No issues this time. So let's get ready for an exciting trial ahead of us. Mo trying to get the first survivor here. Lisu even healed now. Origin having such a better start compared to the previous one. Yeah,
and these survivors of Origin, they're already playing these chases so well. you can see Mo like winding up to go for these mind games or these double bound hits, but the survivors are just calling it out and holding W away, calling out where Mo is going to go and pathing away from it in advance. So Vault going to come out onto that pallet there. Mo looking for an M1 here onto Lawyer. He's going to get it, but Lawyer now can make it into the corner of the map where we know that an actual jungle gym tile will have spawned. He's got a long wall here, pre-drops the pallet. Mo holding the bound out. He's got an opportunity to get the hit here, and he doesn't get it there. Good pathing from Lawyer away from that dash, and he's going to make it back to the pallet now. Mo going to have to break this pallet, but that opens up Lawyer to make it back towards another filler and this TL wall. Has to hit this bound here. He is going to get it there. Nicely done from Mo. That down took a pretty long time, though. We'll have to see if any generators get done. He's actually going to slug. He knows that ZQ is working this generator with significant progress. Going to be going for a throw here. Is going to get that throw. And now ZQ stuck at a very unsafe pallet, but he does have the lithe to get away from it. But it looks like Mo actually called out the lithe there, knew that it was going to come through, and now it's just going to corner up ZQ, and that's 2 survivors on the ground. 1 being picked up immediately, though, right as I say that.
Right as you say that, indeed, a little bit of a caster curse coming out. CQ on the floor, and our killer is trying to get the pressure back onto the survivors here. Again, the same strategy, going for the slugs early on, but Origin looking a lot more confident here. CQ now also being picked up, so Wesker changing his mind, which is interesting because that also equals quite a time loss. Instead of getting the survivor immediately onto the hook, he was basically just losing a significant amount of time there. So it does seem like Origin is putting quite some impression onto the killer at the moment.
Yeah, the way that Mo was deciding not to hook just yet there, he really wanted to keep that middle generator. There's another slam going to come out onto Lisu, but in the end, he had to pick up, and that lost him both of the generators that he was trying to keep. Pain Res just couldn't come in fast enough, and actually we know that Origin had 0 gen progress because the Pain Res was not even used there on ZQ.
Now onto the pallet here, Devour healthy, potentially up for a longer run onto the TNL here. Interesting injury there, not entirely sure what we had for injuring our Claudette, but very nice dash leading into the down here. Hook immediately in reach, fastest delivery on a Mastermind set to the hook that we've seen in a while. CQ and Lisu injured, potentially working on a generator since they are up now to take a little bit of a risk. Lawyer will very likely be the survivor to rescue as they are healthy. Origin with a good showing in this trial, already 1 generator up on the normal conditions that they are supposed to have. Difficult mind game here for our Claudette, or Lisu it is, the David. But very well done there with showing a little bit of patience and leading the Mastermind back up for a few extra seconds. Origin definitely doing a good work, but I don't think the Mastermind needs to be too sad just yet. They are still up for a potential good performance here.
Yeah, 3 hooks now for Mo, 3 fresh hooks, and 0 pain resonances used so far, Dire. So ZQ now in chase, and he's fully infected with no way to spray here. But this is the Jewel Beetle Wesker here, so if he doesn't actually get a slam, that full infection is not going to mean anything. Like, if ZQ here, if he can position himself so he doesn't get slammed, the full infection will not matter. Bound going to come out now, but he's just walking into the corner. That is not how you prevent a slam, Dire.
Unfortunately not. CQ going onto the floor on the second hook stage here. So we have the target also for our killer here. Removing the first survivor from the trial will be available in just a moment here, and having Origin on the 3v1 would make things a lot easier. Mo trying this time, it's going to be the slam into the rock here. Lawyer taking the injury, but Mo cannot chase the current survivor here. Needs to go back, checking onto the generators, needs to make sure that the survivor team is not getting too much in a position of advantage. Lawyer a little bit too optimistic, taking the down relatively quickly here. Now it's looking good for the Mastermind. We're having the injuries, we're having the downs. It doesn't take too long. Bad news for the killer that the Fresh Hook is here with roughly 2 minutes of extra hang time, but spotting Lisu, who is set up here to get the unhook. That is difficult for the Survivor team now, because now you have a potential second down and the third Survivor needs to rotate over. So this is great for our killer now.
Yeah, it's really good that Mo was able to find Lisu there. And I was just about to sing the praises of Origin there as well, for the play that Lawyer made there, but it looks like Lisu going to go down on this basement filler pallet. And yeah, this is Lawyer with the decisive strike. And what I was going to say earlier, Dyer, was I actually liked that play of Lawyer spraying in the killer's face and going down, because right at the same time the tunnel out got unhooked. So Lawyer was essentially saying, you kill me right now and you'll lose the tunnel out, and I'm spraying in your face. And that's exactly what happened. It's just unfortunate that Lisu was found going for the unhook. That would have been an amazing play for Origin. What a bend there out of Mo, able to throw the Claudette away from the tile and into the pipe. She's just going to go down immediately. Great Wesker mechanics here coming out from Mo, once again proving that that first trial was not a fluke.
Yeah, Mo doing it again, basically, which is great to see, because then we also do not really have the greatest impact by the restart decision. Origin is on normal ping, as it's supposed to be when we are playing China versus Europe, but it seems like Mo is not only ahead of them because of the ping difference, he is also ahead purely by the skill that he is presenting us. So it's a very exciting rematch here. We can only hope that Origin is able to get some additional gen pressure in and making sure that the win condition is looking far better, because otherwise we're also talking about a best of 5 where the teams are putting pretty extreme challenges onto each other. 50% on the generator over here. Lisu ignoring even that she is fully infected from the Mastermind power, getting the power in, getting the pressure in, and making sure that we are moving on here. Looking good, and our Mastermind lurking around, seeing someone in the main building, potentially up for the next chase here. Lisu still working on the generator. I'm pretty sure they have to hand over a spray in a second. But it is so hard. Like, I like this best of 5 so much, Prion, because it's so difficult to judge appropriately who's gonna come out with what result, because then on one moment you have the Mastermind shining, then Origin is coming and shine again. It's very exciting.
Yeah, and Mo here, he seems to be suspicious that somebody's working this gen, and yes, he's going to find Lisu here with the sprint burst, but he gets hit over the vault there, and that's going to be the instant down. The consequences for ignoring the infection there, Dyer. And I believe, yeah, with that M1, okay, no, never mind. Mo seems to have thought that Lisu was dead on hook, going for a Mori. Just not the case, though. So Lisu going to get put up on the hook. And that is going to be a 4th pain res here for Mo. A completely different approach than the last trial for Mo, going for the tunnel out. But now he's just got every fresh hook, spreading pressure everywhere. He's buying himself so much time that the survivors of Origin are being forced to ignore their infections.
Now jumping over the window here, making a little bit of distance with the life there. Good play, making sure that the injury is not coming out too quickly. CQ will very likely not make it back towards the window, though, at least not healthy. So we are having all 4 survivors back to injured, but now it really matters how long the chases are going. Great dashes here by Mo. CQ, unfortunately, being a little bit too optimistic that going around the corner will lead them into safety. So we are having the goodbye to CQ 3 versus 1 scenario now, and that's going to change a lot. Origin will be under a lot of additional pressure here, hopefully for the fans of Origin. Lisu can finish this generator, but the Mastermind already approaching. Is it going to be enough for making the win condition a little bit better? The answer is no. 99.9 generator and Hex ruin Ruin is now also going to come in and doing a little bit of work, not too significant though, as Ruin is not as strong as it was used to in the past. So it should be the generator coming out any second now, and at least 3 generators being completed here. But Mo definitely feeling very good on stopping the survivor and getting the down here. So Devour, our final standing survivor, rotating over, trying to get the generator out of the way, and Mo obviously knows if the survivors are trying to take the gen, then it will be this one. Over here it will be another photo finish, but this time Mo will not be able to stop them. So Lawyer, MVP in the end game here, 3rd generator coming out, meaning that Team China needs 4 generators in the upcoming trial for the win. That's definitely a good result for them. They can be very happy, but Origin also stepping up here, showing a little bit of a better survivor game. Very exciting.
Yeah, really well played from Mo once again. The first trial result for Mo was definitely an outlier on the survivor side, but this still incredible Wesker performance from Mo, showing such good mechanics with those dashes. And I want to say, Dyer, it's really good to see a Wesker that uses Unicorn Medallion having such success as we're seeing here with Team China, because usually the meta in, Mastermind in general just hasn't been popular in the European and North American competitive scenes recently. But when he is played, the Unicorn Medallion really isn't used at all anymore, and most of the professional Weskers agree that Egg Gloves is the best combination of add-ons. So as a Unicorn Medallion player myself, I really like to see Mo finding success with this build.
That's very interesting indeed. Yeah, we were talking about it earlier, how we can already point out some differences between the, we could say, classic European American style of the DBD compared to Team China. Obviously, they cannot live out their perk builds entirely due to the balance restrictions we have, but having different add-ons on the Mastermind, playing way more aggressive and way more slugging is also an interesting difference that we have seen there. So we're looking out for more, ladies and gentlemen. For now, it's going to be switching the sides, and we are going to have Team China on the survivor side, and we would like to use the break to talk a little bit about the strategies that we have seen here. Lake Mine is pretty new to the competitive stage, so it's not going to be the easiest the easiest task now for the survivors of Team China. Yet Prion getting 4 generators done is usually a win condition that is making you very comfortable.
Yeah, I think Team China should be feeling pretty good about this survivor round, but I want to know what your thoughts are on the Ormond Lake Mine map in general, Dyer. How strong would you say it is for survivor and killer, maybe the distribution of the tiles or where certain things are? Because for me, this map seems extremely balanced. I think it's one of the best ones they've released in a very long time.
Absolutely agree with that. The one thing I was thinking immediately when testing the map when it got released, I remember that I was saying, thank God we don't have so many RPD pallets anymore. You remember these where you have the desk, you have a pallet, and it absolutely doesn't matter if the pallet is there or not, because you can swing to both sides of the pallet. The loop distance is basically 2.5 meters, if anything. So we have a lot of great tiles again for the survivors, but they're not too strong. We have this interesting double pallet that they introduced on Greenwell. We have a few filler pallets between the barrels, between the rocks, and they can be useful if you are having great confidence and patience in your mind games, but they are not unwinnable for the killers. So they are not creating boring gameplay such as the strong jungle gym pallets, the eye loop on Cold Tower, for example, where you, with pretty much a lot of killers, definitely have to break the pallet in order to get the hit. So it's a map that forces a lot of mind games between the killer and survivors, and it's truly this who has the better patience in the mind game, who has the better reading of the opponent to stay alive. And I really enjoy that. On top of that, I like that we can go a little bit of up and down on the map, that it's not just flat and on the same level all the time. even these little holes that are leading to a filler palette are interesting to watch, and it's even in the aesthetic style, a great map that they have released. So really going with that, I feel like it's a balanced map, an interesting map. We love when we're seeing exciting mind games, so it is a pretty good map. We can only hope not devour.
So I guess I will just keep talking then. I was going to say something about the Ormond Lake mine myself whenever Dyer was finished, but it looks like we are going into the game now. So what I wanted to say about Ormond Lake mine before this other game starts is that there are 3 guaranteed tiles that are jungle gyms on Ormond Lake mine. One of them is guaranteed to be a TL every single generation, and the one that is always guaranteed to be a TL is the one that is connected to Shack. And I really like that about this map, is that there is no potential to have Shack into a long wall jungle gym, like no increased RNG about having a super strong tile next to Shack. That one tile in the middle is always a TL. So the strong ones are going to be the ones that are potentially off in the corners of the map. So just another thing that I think contributes to making this map really balanced for both sides.
I'm back also, ladies and gentlemen, and it was for once not my mountain internet. It was actually Discord, because you lagged on stream, I think, as well. I was so confused because screen share, Twitch, everything worked, and people were pinging me here that I'm sounding like a robot. So I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, that you couldn't listen to my excessive wisdom being dropped at you. We are going into Ormond Lake Mine. I love the analyze that we did. I'm even more hyped now to watch this map after realizing how well designed it actually is. Great topic to bring it up there. And shout out to the devs here. We are sometimes complaining about the breaking lobbies or the servers being a little bit not in our favor, but this map is actually very well done. So thank you for delivering it to the competitive stage here. Win condition 4 gens for Team China. We pointed it out, very great results. So our killer better getting a few quick injuries here.
Yeah, it's going to be Ian first chase here at the main building. Not a very strong pallet, so Ian actually going to smartly go down the stairs, but does get hit through the pallet there. Not enough distance to make that filler pallet. And now going to be running outside towards the middle of the map. It looks like Ian maybe wants to path towards the Shack here, and like I just said, here is the guaranteed TL wall. First dash coming out. Going to be waiting here, and nice patience there from Ian, able to dodge out on that second bound. And it looks like a hit is coming in actually from Milky Way. Very smart teamwork here from Team China.
Smart teamwork indeed, and you can tell what we just picked up on, right? We said you better get a quick early game on the killer side, and the survivors immediately realized that and trying to make sure that these survivors are standing for quite some time. But Ian is taking the first down into the game in exchange for 1 generator though. So Team China absolutely not wasting the time, being as efficient as possible and making sure that the pressure lays on the shoulders of the killer here. Injury being healed just in time for Milky Way, and Devour is dashing a little bit too optimistic and a little bit too far, so that's not going to be the injury right here, leaving 3 healthy survivors. So Team China doesn't need to be worried at all about the pressure at the moment. They can have 1 for the rescue, 1 freely working on one of the generators, and Milky Way can now return to a generator as well. So we are having 2 individuals that are able to work on the objectives at any given time at the moment, which is great when you need 4 generators in order to make a great win condition or getting the set point of the second set for yourself. Jumping down, working a little bit around the main building, and just a few millimeters missing here. And once again, Team China with the great teamwork. Milky Way coming in, saving Ian a little bit. Second generator in the distance, and what a snipe onto Ian here. Very well played. Devour really strong, and making sure also that he's progressing the stages onto the already hooked survivor, getting into the 3v1 as quick as possible, which will be the ultimate key to winning this trial here. Very well done, and he really senses the blood here, looking for more.
If he's able to find it down here on Milky Way before Ian gets unhooked, that is going to be huge for Devour here. But it looks like Devour here, he's got a jungle gym to play with, and the hook for Ian is not too close to where we are right now. He's going to get unhooked now while Devour is committing to this Nancy. This is potentially not good for Devour. Even though he gets the down, he's in danger of losing his tunnel out now, Dire. He wants to hook Milky Way here to get the Grim Embrace. But if Ian is smart here, he won't spray, because if Devour loses that tunnel out now, this game is over in favor of Team China.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for our killer that Ian hasn't found his fate yet and is still in the trial, because it looked like such a strong potential for Team Origin here, removing one of the survivors from the battlefield, and then you still have 3 generators standing, so you're not even close to the win condition yet, and it would have been so well. We're having Milky Way over here, and Ian is just gone. Ian is hiding. Ian is, I don't know, camping on the Mount Ormond somewhere, and it's not going to happen that we see him anytime soon. I believe he would rather camp in a locker and wait for the team members to finish the generators. Milky Way, therefore, being the next survivor back onto the ground. Devour getting the relatively quick downs, being good with the dashes, but ultimately you really need the elimination. Maybe with the next stage onto Milky Way. Second chance now to get a survivor out of the game, but you cannot you cannot camp the hooked survivor. You need to make sure that you are getting back to the generators over here. 80% on this objective, so Team China is preparing for taking the set point.
It's good that he is finally getting some eruptions down on the map, but he really needs one of these survivors that is dead on hook. What a throw there onto Mia. Perfect distance there for Devour to potentially get a 2-tap here. Goes around the side of the pallet there, and yeah, he's actually going to get quite a 2-tap there onto Mia. Very nicely done there, and he's actually going to find the reset onto the dead on hook survivor as well. If he can actually get a quick down here onto Milky Way, this game could be really tilting in Origin's favor, but he's not. He looks like he's going for Grim Embrace, Dire.
Interesting choice there from our killer, and unfortunate that he wasn't able to interrupt the unhook. Ian in the distance cranking a generator now after deciding that it was enough of hiding, not so scared anymore. We are having the 3rd generator being interrupted, and this happens when you are trying to be a little bit too confident and a little bit too cheeky. Then you are going down onto the floor here. I don't want to be mean, but that's very deserved to Milky Way. It was possible to drop the pallet early, making the pallet as a barrier between the killer and the survivor. It was not absolutely necessary to get the down there. So, and if you're trying to take such a risk, then you also have to pay the high price, and we can only hope that this will not flip into the disadvantage now of Team China, because that was far sooner the elimination than it had to be, and they need one more gen to only go for the tie here in Omen Lake Mine. They would need 2 more gens from now. So Prion, this might be the chance for Origin to actually take over, as you mentioned.
And that was one of the only ways for Devour to like immediately get back into the driver's seat of this game. Killing Milky Way and stopping a gen that was at 99% was a insane play for him, and now he's going to be finding Ian here, another dead on hook survivor, in not a very good spot here. Ian needs to get somewhere strong very quickly. Going to be pathing through the main building there. Really good pathing from Ian, making sure that Devour can't use the dashes whatsoever to follow him until he gets over to this next pallet, and actually Ian paths away from the dashes once again, and Devour is forced to leave there. Exquisite chase there from Ian, able to force Devour to not be able to use the power.
Now, next generator coming out. So we are having a tie at the moment on Ormond Lake Mine here. Another generator would be needed for Team China to get the necessary win condition in. Ian, Mir, and Light Soldier are the ones that are responsible for this. Let's see if it's going to happen. Devour going back onto the main building here, trying to use the position to get a little bit of a better idea where the survivors are located. Finding Ian, and that's bad for Team China now, because that's the second survivor that would be immediately removed from the trial, but vaulting the pallet twice just in time, making sure that it's going to take a little bit longer. And here you need the patience, because especially with the ping, you will create yourself a difficult scenario once you drop that pallet. Nice patience. Eventually dropping the pallet. Mind game by Devour not working out. Ian with the Mastermind, but on his side with the 200 IQ, ultimate Iron Will Steel 5000 gameplay approach, not vaulting in the next 500 years. Very, very well done. Devour has to return to the generators, facing still 3 survivors. Ian got some time for the team members, so after this play, I feel like it's realistic that China is making it.
Yeah, absolutely, Dire. Team China, this is their game to lose now. Ian, with patience in the face of extremely high ping, cross-regional even, his patience is so good there, able to prevent himself from going down while he's injured and dead on hook. And now, Devour having to chase onto Light Soldier here. And Light Soldier is the last stack of Grim Embrace here. He really needs this Grim Embrace if he's going to be able to come back in this game. But he's going to be finding Ian once again here with the balance landing. Good pathing from Ian around the dash once again. I can't even remember the last time Ian actually was connected with by one of these dashes. And now it's going to be Light Soldier, the final stack of Grim Embrace on the edge map filler palette. And he actually calls out the swing. Such good pathing there. Dodges another swing there for Light Soldier. Such a good chase, and that's going to finally finish it. China finishes the 4th gen, Dire, and that is going to be a second set point for Team China.
Very well done by Team China. They are taking the second set point, but since we are playing BO5, there's one more set that they need to take. And it is, ladies and gentlemen, the most exciting, most legendary, amazing, gorgeous, thrilling, and I'm at the end of my vocabulary in English, sets that we have ahead of us. The Plague on Father Campbell's Chapel. Very, very exciting trial. We talked about it in the campfire chat. So much decision making. Everything can turn when the Plague is taking the power. You need to make sure that you're not being hooked in the wrong part of the map, because then the Plague is just shutting everything down. And when you're staying injured, which most of the time you have to do on the Plague set, being broken and infected, you cannot even take something risky or trading for a team member. We hear very heartbreaking the hatch opening in the distance, but it is going to be the hook for Light Soldier. Yeah, definitely the advantage now for our guests from China. Origin will have to step up one more time, but they have done exactly that after the first set. In the second set, the Unknown, they were coming out and presenting themselves really, really strong. So Father Campbell's Chapel is waiting ahead of us for the Plague. We'll set everything up. Time to grab a drink and a snack, and we'll see you right after this very short break. Hello everyone, we are back with the Plague on Father Campbell's Chapel, and it's a very exciting set, so we should also speed up a little bit on the casting so we can get to you the most information as possible. The Plague is going around here trying to find the first survivor. We have Corrupt Intervention and Thanatophobia, which is telling us that it's going to be a very aggressive playstyle with injuring a lot of survivors, and I'm so hyped for this game because Plague is so much decision making and so much of different strategies being possible here, and we already see that the No Mither is one answer from Mia to the Plague of Team Origin. Light Soldier is taking the puke, and instantly the Plague going towards the generators and a little bit of extra puking. It is a little bit an information tool as well when you're puking the generators early. So every survivor that is infected a little bit after, you can tell that they have jumped onto these objectives. And that's a snipe onto Milky Way. 2 survivors already infected, one of them broken anyway due to the no mither. So I think Variant is pretty happy here.
Variant gotta be happy with this start. He's already spreading the infections. The no mither survivor is going to be a constant activator of thanatophobia here, so he only needs to find an injury onto Ian to get that full debuff going. And now, going to be chasing onto that first injured survivor here, the no mither player, Mia here, going towards the carnival. This was a really good place to take the first chase, but actually, okay, it was actually the Lithe. I was gonna say Mia vaulting directly into the killer, but the Lithe saves him there, and he's able to get the stun there. So Mia continuing to play in this carnival. Variant going for a red late mind game, going to instead break the pallet. That should allow Mia to get to the next carnival pallet, but there aren't really that many pallets in this carnival. Once this one is gone, Mia might be out of resources. That's assuming that he doesn't just go down to the M1 mind game there. So first down for Variant, and 1 generator done in exchange for Team China.
Very good exchange always when you can go for 1-for-1. I feel like then both sides have something to be happy about. You definitely didn't take too long, considering Plague is a weaker killer on tier 3 for the first down. Here in this case, we have seen it at 1:59. So 2 minutes is, I think, an okay chase time for the Plague. You can be happy with that, but the survivors also getting the game started. Important here for Variant to stop this generator that already has a significant amount of pressure, getting a little bit of regression into that. Mia here taking the responsibility on being onto the hook. Interesting though, because usually the first survivor is the one that you're trying to tunnel out, and Mia will not have the chance to go for the pool later and making sure that she's getting back to healthy due to the no mither. So it might be the ideal survivor for Variant to take care of when we are talking about the elimination here. Back towards the generator that we checked on earlier, no survivor rotated yet, so we did lose a little bit of progress here. Great for Variant as well. This trial starts to go, collecting some good aspects for him. Mia is going down onto the floor, second generator in the distance, being careful on the hook onto Mia there, doesn't want to risk anything, so going for the slug. You cannot extend it too long, obviously, as we have to no mither, and at some point we will even be able to rescue themselves, but a little bit of a mind game coming out here. You need to be really careful with the puke on the pallet, because if you're stunned, you're not going to be a powerful killer for much longer. Now, after the injury that came out onto Ian, opting to go back onto Mia here, trying to proceed with the elimination, but they are making it around the corner. So Team China with a good counterplay.
Yeah, Dyer, that was frankly a huge mistake slugging the no mither survivor. Like, you know that survivor can get up for free, and he just left him anyways. And it actually is the decisive strike on this no mither survivor, so maybe that's why the slug was coming in. But also, Mia was in a complete dead zone when he went down the second time after being hooked. So I still think that he really needed to pick up there, because now Mia just gets off the ground, uses Lithe, and is now in a very strong position, forcing Variant to leave, and now only 2 generators are remaining with a single hook to the name of Origin.
Absolutely, I'm trying to get back into track, we could say, for Team Origin here. You have the chance, right? You have so many survivors that are injured and broken. The Plague absolutely in the ideal spot, basically, what you're trying to achieve with the infections, with the puking. But for some reason, even though you have the good base for it, you are being tricked like this 2 times by Light Soldier with the tree. And yeah, it's only 5 to 7 seconds that they are winning, but these 5 to 7 seconds can make a difference. We lost 20 earlier on the shack when we were slugging the no mither survivor, another 30 when finally going back onto this survivor. All of this is adding up and can make the difference towards the final generator. Now, the good news is you have some sort of a 3-gen here on the carnival. You do have your Grim that is doing a little bit of work for you, and you have Milky Way in the corner, so a quick down. But you haven't removed anyone from the trial yet. You haven't put yourself into the 3v1 scenario that you would really like to see. So there is so much more to do, but I feel like our killer is running out of time slowly.
Yeah, he does have a very good 3-gen here, Dire. It could be a little bit better, but this is one of the better 3-gens that can spawn on this map, and along with the Eruption, there's definitely room for Variant to come back into this game if he can play the 3-gen, I guess, to perfection here. It's exactly what he needs to kind of come back in this game. He has 1 pool left, or 2 pools left, but only one of them is in a good spot, as one of them is all the way over by the shack. He did bring the double apple this game to get as many pools as he possibly could. It's not something that we always see anymore. Some plagues like to go for the infection duration add-ons these days, but it looks like Team China is going to be opting to cleanse. And not just anyone cleansing, they are all going to be cleansing except for the No Mither Survivor, who of course it doesn't matter for. So Infection going to come out onto Ian, and Variant is immediately going to take that Corrupt Purge and go back towards the gen area. He finds Milky Way here at this filler pallet, trying to hit over the wall, and he does get it. You're not safe here, Milky Way. Nice crouch there, though, but it's not going to last very long. Milky Way smartly opting to wave at the pallet there and die there. It's going to be now Ian trying to come in for the save, tries to crouch under that Corrupt Purge, and it's going to miss. Has to play this 4-lane now near the shack. Going to, oh, what a crouch there from Ian, and he holds W through it again. Actually stuns the Plague out of the power, but still goes down. That is going to cut the pressure off for Variant. He does have 2 downs here, Dire, but these downs are so far away from the gens.
Yeah, this is exactly the point that is important here. Too far away from the gens, overextending a little bit, but we are having a little bit of an indicator where to go here. We are seeing the survivors splitting up on the right and left side of the circus, which is not the greatest distance between them, and also our Plague now traveling back towards the hooked survivor with the power. So a killing machine on the tail of the survivors here, trying to get the hook stages in. Very smart play here, dropping the pallet, then taking the Lithe, trying to get on the hill and avoiding the power, but it's not going to happen, and we are having some festival on the shack. Interesting. Variant realizes that the survivors would need some extra time making it out of the corner there, and no exit gate being available, so he takes the time, this hooking Mia, and now realizing that when he cuts them off through the main building with the power, he should still make it in time to get a hold of the survivors. They are cleansing in the background though, so they might come in healthy here. They are also rescuing Mia, so Variant hopefully finding one of these survivors to be able to execute the plan that they were setting up here. It looks like Ian is going to be that survivor that has to make a sacrifice if the survivors are not getting out of the gates in time, and giving him the shack. Rotating back, this is a lot of chaos now. Variant needs to decide which survivor to take. Takes the power again, trying to get the injury here. Onto Milky Way, will be in a difficult spot, only having the TNL. Ian is around here as well, trying to mind game with the puke, not working out. Prion, this is so intense.
Yeah, and what Team China is trying to do here is they're trying to send the survivor in chase over towards the hatch. It looks like Ian is going to make it into the shack, but he has to actually make it around the back side of the shack as well. Looks like Ian knows that he was not going to get the hatch, and now he's pathing back towards the door. Will the killer make it back in time? Dire, he goes up on the hill. The Plague power is not going to be running out anytime soon. He has to try to take efficient pathing here to cut Ian off. Will the Corrupt Purge hit? There's a tile in the way between the survivor and the door. Ian, he knows that he won't make it. He has to try to make it to the other door now. Both of the doors were opened. The other one was opened by Mia there on the ace. He's trying to path towards the other door by the carnival. Variant now understands what's going on here, and the Corrupt Purge is gone, Dire. It's a race at the door, but it looks like Ian not going to make it just at the last second. Barely makes it to the threshold of the door, and that is going to be 1 kill for Variant. but still, such a solid performance from Team China there.
So sad to see Ian dropping there.
Yeah, and honestly,
I feel bad.
let's talk about the play here that allowed Team China to complete all the generators. When Variant committed to the shack side of the map to down those 2 survivors, one of them was Ian, the Claudette. You really can't blame Variant for going for that play, because that Claudette was his final stack of Grim Embrace. If he had just gotten that down faster, it would have been the correct play. All of the generators would have been blocked, and the No Mithers survivor would have had their aura highlighted. So I think Variant had the right idea there, just the execution just wasn't there, and it allowed Team China to take the win.
Yeah,
well,
this
not
is
necessarily the win just yet.
Yeah, this is the sour taste, right? Because I feel like Variant did so many things so good. The base was there. We had very early so many infected survivors. Knew what he was doing in theory with holding down the 3-gen on the circus. And then, as you mentioned, like the execution of the plan and the tactical play around this good base, that unfortunately didn't really happen to the greatest extent. So we are talking about 7 stages on 4 individual survivors. This is definitely a positive aspect that all the survivors were hooked. So 7 stages on 3 survivors for Team China would not be enough. But 8 stages is something that can happen, especially when we imagine that we get a fresh hook in the end game. Then we are talking about 5 stages during the mid game being enough to go for the win condition here and taking the final set point for Team China, as this might be the very deciding trial. This is also what we should talk about. Final deciding trial. Everything is on the table now for Team Origin. You had a little bit of a difficult game when we are talking about the execution on the killer side. Quite some pressure now on the survivor side. You need a flawless game, basically, not handing out too many stages. How are you approaching this on the survivor side? Do you try to be aggressive on the gens? Do you ignore the infection? Or do you try to be a little bit more stealthy and playing relaxed?
I think it kind of depends on what add-ons the killer for Team China brings here. If we see double apple again, then I think the survivors need to play it very slow. The multiple uses of the corrupt purge could easily have the game snowballing out of control. But if we see the killer for Team China bringing some add-ons like the infection duration, like the hematite seal, and 1 or 0 of the apple add-ons, then I think the survivors can afford to ignore the infection and play fast and just not cleanse.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it would be the greatest thing if you don't really have to cleanse, right? When you are putting yourself into the position where you deny the killer the power, having this sort of control throughout the trial, it's definitely making you really strong, because we have seen in the previous trial how dangerous the power can become. The end game, for example, it was very chaotic. If 1 or 2 of these pukes would have additionally taken a hit there, we might have talked about a completely different result. So the risk is definitely there when you are allowing the Plague to have her power. We are seeing Devour, Variant, CQ, and Lawyer in the lobby. They are about to ready up. NF is taking the responsibility for our team from China again, and we should load any minute now. Father Campbell's Chapel, we talked about it also. Interesting map. I feel like this is also one of the first tasks that Origin has to do, breaking any dangerous 3-gen to make sure that they are not getting farmed some hook stages later.
Yeah, so 9 stages going to be the win condition here, I believe, for NF. Let me just check real quick. Nope, actually 8 stages, the win condition for NF here. So if NF can bring in 8 stages, that is going to be the full set win for Team China. Really exciting stuff here. Backs against the wall for Origin's survivors here. They've really been putting up a good fight today in the face of some great adversity off the back of some insane killer performances from Team China. But I mean, this game has still been so close, Dyer, and it's actually so far been divided on the lines of who picked what killer. China has won both of their picks so far. So Plague is Origin's second pick here. And if they're able to tie it up 2-2 here, then we'll really have no idea what's going to happen in the Oni tiebreaker.
Let's see if Origin is making it one more time. They've done it on the Unknown set earlier when coming from the Blight, or is it going to be the end of the story for Origin and Team China entering the main stage? Mindbreaker coming out here. Very interesting to see that. We definitely want to make sure as the survivor side to get early away from the generators and not taking extra risk here. Overcommitment is definitely not an option for these survivors here. Preparing the main building a little bit and scouting for the first survivor. Nothing too crazy just yet. Using the puke as an information tool, as we do find some scratch marks. So they are already working on the potential dangerous region on the top side, as we talked about. Great crouching, making sure that not too much infection is possible, but Variant needs to make sure that he's getting himself into a good position, because very soon the infection will be enough. Never mind, NF decides to go for the M1 here. I feel like locking him in the corner wouldn't have been the worst idea there. Now you are giving him a relatively strong pallet, and we are seeing a reverse stun coming out from Variant. Behavior patched them out a while ago. Variant doesn't care and just executes them nonetheless. Very, very sick play here.
Yeah, NF continuing chase here onto Variant. That was a really nice reverse stun there, and actually going to be breaking that pallet and going towards the main building now. NF does not want to deal with that main building at all. A very smart decision. I don't blame him at all. Going to now be checking on this TL gen. Finds an injured survivor here. That's going to be ZQ. Eruption set on the TL generator. And he's actually not going to commit to ZQ at all. He wants to protect these circus generators here. Going to try to find the final uninfected survivor here, which is going to be Devour on the Lara Croft here. Going to break that pallet, trying to create a dead zone here at the carnival. I can kind of see what NF is going for here. Not actually going to find Devour though. Maybe was sniffing somebody out over in the other side of the carnival at this generator. It's going to be Devour now in the locker. Yeah, Devour was actually the only survivor here, Dire, so this is going to be quite a bit of time wasted for NF.
Little bit of time wasted indeed, and this will become a very, very maturing factor very soon, as the teams are fighting for hook stages here. We're not having the clear win condition after 4K. We need to make sure that we are getting effectively 8 stages onto these survivors, and you better be quick on the survivor side still. So far it looks like a good early game for our survivors, yet the generators are missing the progress a little bit. Either they are going individually onto the objectives and we are very soon having a generator firework here, or it is indeed going to be the survivors missing a little bit of the efficiency. This window tag is a nice attempt, but not going to work on NF here. So Variant is going to take the down after quite a while here on the shack. We are talking about 3 minutes and 9 seconds. Thank you to our tournament analyst Toby in the background for providing this, because in the previous trial we basically had the first down at the 2-minute mark. So we are talking about a whole minute difference that Team Origin got here, and there it is visible now. They used it very well. My worries were unreasonable. 2 gens is a great start.
This is a really strong start for Origin. However, the power is not gone yet for NF, and he still has all of these survivors injured. Lawyer going to be going down in the corner here, and this is definitely NF's chance to snowball here, Dire. When they've finished 2 generators, you know that means that most of the other generators are not going to have that much progress. I believe the only one that has significant progress is the one over there by the TL wall on the left. So Lawyer going to go up on his first hook. That wasn't a pain res either. So going to allow NF to set the eruption here on this TL generator. Entity spikes beginning to appear. I believe that was actually the 4th regression of that generator. So just the beginning of the anti-3-gen mechanic. But do remember that eruption can burn through those regression events so quickly.
Now, going on to the edge map scouting a little bit, you talked about the snowball, a little bit worried at the moment that our killer might lose a little bit of precious time here. We are not on the tail of another survivor. The snowball would require putting them constantly busy into the chase, dragging them away from the generators, and it seems like Team Origin is taking a slower approach here, making sure that they are very safe and not allowing a second parallel down to a lawyer here. The difficulty might be that Origin is allowing the survivor going into second, which would mean that we either are very confident on the generator progress or a little bit too scared about the Plague scouting around here. Anyway, for our killer, it is great that we have the second hook stage here.
Very good game sense here from NF, knowing that he can confirm that second stage with the power. None of the survivors here are able to save because they're all infected. So NF not seeing any cleansing going on, so knowing that he can secure that stage, very nicely done. But now he might be able to go back and find Lawyer to get a tunnel out here, as now he's finding scratch marks of a different survivor here, possibly a fresh hook. And remember, Dyer, the pain res was not used on Lawyer. So if he does eventually go back to try to down that survivor, that will be another pain res. Going to be a down coming in onto Devour. Eruption triggering on that TL generator. And I'm not sure if there was even a survivor on that. I don't see an aura from Eruption. So NF finding another down here. And it seems like no generator is going to go just yet. Another pain res coming in now. And I'm starting to wonder about this strategy here from Origin of just not cleansing.
And yeah, this is getting interesting now, right? Because we can only hope, and yeah, we can only hope that this is the chance that is being used now, because we are talking about quite a progress in the mid game now, and making sure here that the survivors are not getting their hands too often on the generators anymore, and potentially also gaining some confidence by shutting down their game plan by a few downs, by a few hook stages, forcing them into the decision also, do we want to cleanse, do we want to hand out the power? This is what is really needed right now. And Variant is now showing us a very great chase here on the TNL. Plague at the moment more functioning like an M1 killer, but really doing good right now.
Yeah, and NF is forced into playing as an M1 killer here, as he is going to get the down onto ZQ. ZQ really wanted to leave that TL wall, and NF just called him out on it there. Going to be going up on the hook, and that's going to be another pain res. Only one of those left now for NF, but so far he is doing a pretty good job of regressing those gens. And yeah, I mean, he has to play as an M1 killer here, and there are some significantly strong areas left on the map. It's just about, is Origin even able to play those strong areas? And for Lawyer, he is certainly not. Goes to a jungle gym that has no pallet, and a slow vault from Variant going to get him killed at the shack. That's two survivors on the ground, Dyer, and one of them is dead on hook. This is going to be a kill for NF.
Kill that is coming just in time here. Lawyer getting down into the base. Oh, we are doing a little bit of collecting the pieces together. Variant is more, but this is also something that we don't see really often, that you are trying to...
This is a really smart play.
Yeah, it is really great. But yeah, very interesting to see that. Not allowing the survivor to be outside of the shack, not risking anything in terms of reset, making sure that the survivor that is on the staircase has to crawl up, having the Mori available as well. And now you perform the Mori on the top of the staircase. So even if someone is running behind you, you are immediately in the perfect position for going down there and catching the rescue. And I feel like this also marks the very potential turning point into CN taking the win here.
Yeah, that was such a smart play from NF, carrying the dead on hook survivor into the shack to get the free basement hook and prevent the basement unhook all at the same time while getting the Mori. Such a good play there from NF. And one more generator is going to be done in the distance, but there's a dead on hook survivor in the basement, and everybody is injured. This strategy of not cleansing is coming back to bite Origin, as I think any kill here is, or any second hook here is going to be game for NF. And are you seeing what I'm seeing, Dyer? There's a little bit of lag there, maybe? Okay, looks like we're fine now.
Yeah, was worried a little bit for a second, and Devour is taking some Devour hope in the distance. Cleansing, I don't really think that is going to be too much of a difference here, as we are reaching now the 3 kills, which equals 9 hook stages, even more, 10 hook stages overall, and then we are having what we need. So ladies and gentlemen, congratulations are going out to Team China for taking the best of 5 here tonight, qualifying themselves for the main stage of the winter circuit. Very excited to see them play. And for Team Origin, they presented themselves really, really strong. They can be very proud of the performance that they showed tonight. Great comeback after the difficult Blight set. Interesting games, interesting trials all along. So really big shout out to Origin here as well.
Yeah, Team China, welcome to DBDLeague. I can't wait to see more of this team in the main stage as they play against some of the even stronger and more well-known teams, some of the best competition that they could have in the entire world. I really can't wait to see more of this team. I'm so excited that I got to cast them today, Dyer, and they really impressed me.
Yeah, let's check real quick. Team China is going to have a very interesting opponent when we are talking about the main stage that is going to come up next. Main stage is starting, ladies and gentlemen, on the next weekend. So make sure that you are coming around there, that you're catching the first games from the beginning, because you really don't want to miss the first games like this. You can already tell by the qualifiers how close together everything is, how much the teams are fighting, and Team China is going against none other than Eternal. So the rematch from the show matches that they played on various stages and content creators. So this will be a very, very interesting task for Eternal there, I think. Devour getting the infection here. We are watching the final chase. We are also setting up the game Meadow versus Loyalty in the background. Meadow already setting up the lobby, getting the survivors of Loyalty in, waiting for our spectator to join. So we are not going to wait with the next trial here. We are behind schedule. Important to mention, thank you to everyone for the patience here during the first best of 5. We had quite some lobby crashes, quite some server issues that extended the games a little bit. Thank you for your kind words and your support throughout the best of 5. And we hope with getting Meadow and Loyalty instantly ready, we can get back a little bit on track here. 2 different casters will take over for us. Zach and Mathis will guide you through the upcoming best of 5.